This is the video lesson for our second review packet for the quarterly exam. In example 1, we're simplifying expressions, and in number 1, it says 4 times m times 4 times n times 4 times p. So what we can do is we can multiply the constants, the 4's. And 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. And we simply continue the expression multiplying by the variables m times n times p. 64m n p. And that actually means 64 times m times n times p. In number 2, we have an addition expression here. So what we can do is we can look for any terms that are similar, that we can combine, like the two m's here. We have m and m, and notice the second m is being added. So I know even though it's after the p, the only thing that we can add that to is the first m. So m plus m would be 2m. And then we could do the same thing with the p terms. We have a p and a second p, and that's being added as well. So we'll have plus 2p. And then finally we have our z terms. And we can see that that second z is being added as well, and the first z is, so we have plus 2z. Now, number 3, we have an expression that has addition and subtraction in it. So we're going to have to be careful here. So the first thing we look at are the j terms. I always start with the first term, and that's a 32j. Now look at the other j term, 13j, but notice it's being subtracted. And even though it's after the 3x, what we're really going to subtract it from is the 32j. And so if we subtract 13j from 32j, we get 19j. Now we're going to look at the x terms. Notice this plus sign right here. That's because the 3x is being added. So that actually means our next operation after the j is going to be addition, because we're going to add the x terms. But the last x term, minus x, is being subtracted. And again, we're subtracting that from the 3x. 3x minus x is 2x. So we have 19j plus 2x. And finally, in number 4, we can see that we have some parentheses here, and there's a number being multiplied out front, so we're going to use the distributive property there. Then we have some subtraction, so we're going to have to be really careful simplifying this one as well. So first, let's start by distributing the 5 to both terms inside the parentheses. So we have 5 times 3x, which is 15x. And then we're going to distribute the 5 to the second term. We have plus 5 times 1 is plus 5. Now what I'm going to do is just continue the expression by writing the minus 2x minus 2. Now we can start to look for like terms that we can combine, like the 15x and the 2x. Notice the 2x is being subtracted, so we'll subtract it from the 15x. That gives us 13x. Notice the constants are being added, so we'll bring that plus sign straight down, plus. And we have 5 minus 2, which is 3. So we get 13x plus 3.
Example number 2, writing and graphing inequalities. The situation says Robert gets paid at least $5 each week for doing his chores and helping out around the house. How much money will Robert earn after 3 weeks if he does his chores? Let's go ahead and identify some key ideas here. We know that Robert gets paid at least $5 each week. That means that Robert can get paid $5 $6, $7, and that continues forever, obviously with any increment of change in between. So at the very least, Robert gets paid $5 each week. We can show that as D for dollars is greater than or equal to 5. Now the question says, how much money will Robert earn after 3 weeks? So after 3 weeks, what we have to do is we have to take the $5 after each week times by 3, and that equals 15. That means Robert gets paid at least $15 in 3 weeks. We can write that with the inequality D is greater than or equal to 15. Now that we have the inequality, let's go ahead and draw this with on a number line. We have 15 somewhere in the middle, of course, 16, 17. This pattern continues all the way up. And as you move towards the left, these numbers get smaller. So we know that a very important point is right at 15 because it's equal to. That means D can equal 15. We have a closed circle on 15, and we're going to shade it to the right. D is greater than or equal to 15.